Ramses II. Ramses II, user Mater Seti Piner, King, Ramses II, is the most famous king of the modern state. As he succeeded his father, King Seti I, he became king at the age of between 25 and 30 years of age. He enjoyed a long rule of about 67 years. He also left a huge amount of monuments and inscriptions. King Ramses II had many queens and fathered about 100 children, while his main wife was the great queen Nefertari, and for which a temple was built near his temple, Abbey Simbel, in Nubia. Her tomb in the Valley of the Queens is the most beautiful cemetery in a good cemetery. It is likely that King Ramses II also married his daughter, Merit-Amun. King Ramses II is considered one of the greatest warriors of Egypt. He recorded the events of the Battle of Kadesh, which appeared in the 5th year of his rule against the kingdom of the Hittites, on multiple tracks, although the actual outcome of the battle was equal for the two sides. However, the king was extremely proud of his personal courage and military prowess, boasting that he had saved Egypt single-handedly from the fate of crushing defeat. He continued to skirmish with the Hittites for many years, but he finally signed the first peace treaty in history with their king, and he married his daughter to complete the alliance that he established. The tomb of the ambassador who delivered his peace treaties was found at Saqqara. King Ramses II built temples all over Egypt and Nubia. Among the most famous construction projects are the Temple of Abu Simbel and the Ramesseum, dedicated to his funeral worship, as well as adding it to Luxor Temple. He also established a new capital, which is Bar Ramses, in the Delta. He also erected many of his own statues and seized a large number of other statues that belonged to previous kings. King Ramses II was initially buried in the cemetery, KBV, but his body was moved to his hideout in Deir el-Bahari to protect it from looting. The mummy was sent in the late 20th century to the Human Museum in Paris for study and restoration, as it was suffering from a bad condition. It is interesting that within his official travel document, his job was listed as the property of the deceased. Dr. Sahar Salim recently carried out a scientific project to reconstruct the face of King Ramses II used the CT scan of the king's mummy, in partnership with Dr. Caroline Wilkinson, an anthropologist from Liverpool, England. The mummy of King Ramses II underwent many scientific studies in Egypt as well as in France in the 70s of the last century. The mummy of King Ramses II was also examined by CT scan in 2009 as part of the Royal Mummies Examination Project of the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities, which was established by Egyptologists Dr. Zahi Hawass and Dr. Sahar Salim, professors, and head of the Radiology Department at the Faculty of Medicine, Cairo University, and member of the Scientific Committee for Museum Display at the Civilization Museum in Fustat, participated in it, where the CT scans and advanced techniques enabled the mummy radiologist, Dr. Sahar Salim, to examine the mummy of King Ramses II, in addition to 40 other royal mummies, and by making thousands of thin sections of the ancient Egyptian royal mummy and installing it. Dr. Sahar obtained many 2- and 3-dimensional X-rays, which gave a lot of information about the mummy, such as age at death, health status, and method of embalming. Sahar Salim with information and CT scans in the design of the museum display in the Hall of Royal Mummies at the Museum of Civilization in Fustat. Dr. Sahar Salim used the technique of examining the CT scan of the mummy of King Ramses II to restore the face of the king during his life. Dr. Sahar Salim made a 3-dimensional electronic model of the skull of King Ramses II, the electronic image of the king's face and a visualization of the king's face at the time of his life. Dr. Sahar Salim chose the color of the skin, hair, and eye color based on archaeological and scientific data from the mummy. And with digital technology, the scientific project showed the face of the king at the age of 40 at the peak of his strength and gradually until he reached the age of 90 when he passed away. And a project was recorded reconstruction of the face of King Ramses II in a documentary film produced by the French National Television, Channel 3, in celebration of the bicentenary of Egyptology.